Hello everyone, it's me, GamePing21, and today... Okay, looks like we're starting off strong with this one. We're starting off, of course, with the meme that I'm probably going to put up on screen at the beginning of this video, right about here. Which is about, of course, Dragon's Dogma being $70 and running absolute ass everywhere. It's basically become, like, the biggest punching bag within the last, few days that has been on sale, so much so that there has been a lot of discussion around it. So let's actually talk about that, and let's actually talk about what it is that I want to talk about in this video. So, with that being said, let's get started. Of course, starting off with the Kev, with the whole Dragon's Dogma being $70 thing and having a bunch of different stuff, including it being single player and still having microtransactions, which was not good when Ubisoft did it, and is still not good when Capcom does it, regardless of what game they're going to put up in this video. So, with that, we now have onto tweeting Gara. I think that it's not Gara, it's not the same Gara, but, my brother, who is somewhat interested in Dragon's Dogma 2, just sent me this with a and now is less interested, obviously. The cost of trying to deceive your customers by forcing microtransactions in your game. With the Steam reviews of this being mostly negative. It was hovering around mostly negative to mixed, but it seems to have dropped down to mostly negative at the time of this. So what is he actually referring to in this context? Well, he's referring to this amount of microtransactions in the game. Or someone by the name of Doc Storganov, Strange Love, says, "I'm sorry, what, Capcom? For a single-player game?" Now, you might be noticing this and looking at this and thinking, this doesn't seem that bad, but you realize, right, that the game is $60. Or, well, actually, no, it's $70. And about half of that comes down to all of these. Now, to some people that say that these are, buying cheat codes or paying for not moving, paying for, cheat codes and, skipping past progress, again, Ubisoft would like to have a word with you. If you are not okay with Ubisoft doing this, you should not be okay with Dragon's Dogma and Capcom doing this as well. It's just totally stupid. There will also be people that will be defending this, and we'll get into those in a little bit, but just know, all of this is around $40, right, in terms of, all the DLC from the actual original thing. And again, a lot of these are, meh, and 99 cents, 99 cents, but a lot of these can be bought multiple times as well. With a Parna Band says, be Capcom, release a $70 single player game, shoves de novo, shoves microtransactions and paid character edit vouchers, shoves anti-cheat. Reminder, all in a single player game. Is there any wonder why the game is mostly getting mostly negative scores on Steam right now? Gee, I wonder. Next up, we've got Blaine Smith here saying, Twitter BS with a "you have to pay to change your character's appearance in Dragon's Dogma 2. The reality is, the first city you visit, 30 to 60 minutes if you rush, you can buy the item for next to nothing in-game." And that's not the important bit here. And I think Timo, the person who retweeted this, actually puts it the best here, saying, Twitter BS, MTX are not bad. Reality, microtransactions in single-player games and people defending them suck. I don't even need to make a joke there. That's just perfectly written. Thank you, Timo, for making my job so much easier. Next up, we've got an interesting one here from PMS Jordan saying the real reason that they wanted to start fast traveling was they wanted to sell fast traveling microtransactions. And yes, you can buy microtransactions in terms of fast travel to skip past specific points in the game. And that is clearly shown by the microtransactions to the other side. Where in this one, they actually said Dragon's Dogma 2 doesn't have fast travel, as its director says it's only because, it says you only need it, quote, because your game is boring. Elden Ring has fast travel, and I spent over 160 hours to beat it. And I enjoyed every single second of that game. It is fucking amazing and deep and beautiful. And I know that that's more of a specific thing to Elden Ring. But you know what else is way more popular and sold way more copies and also has fast travel? Skyrim. Like, it's very, very standard in open-world sandboxy type games, except for Minecraft. That one's more of an exception. But in most games, you have a fast travel-like system. Even Terraria has a fast travel-type system. It's very simple, but it's a simple game. So it's like, unless you are going for, like, total immersion or farming sim or sim-style games, yeah, no. In most RPGs and in most other games, there's a fast travel system, unless it's very linear. Like, you don't see a fast travel system in Doom, now do you? Oh wait, it's called level select. Weird. Next up, we've got old AIs with a games having loads of DLC isn't cool, but I find it weird that DD2 gets this much outrage when I barely see any talk of when other games like Yakuza 8 do the same. There has got to be something else about the game that people are unhappy with, and it's just trying to pile onto. And that's fairly true as well. Jesus Christ, $139 for DLC. Did not notice that when I was taking this screenshot. But for Like a Dragon, I don't think many people really cared about it, because most of these seem to be like extra stuff. Same thing with the Dragon's Dogma thing. Most of it seems to be extra stuff, but it's also stuff that you can earn in-game. So, I don't know. It might be because it's more egregious and more like taking away specific features from the game. And even still, like, it's hard to say. And this is one of the things that kind of muddies the waters when you look at it from an objective standpoint. And yeah, certainly, get angry at Dragon's Dogma and Capcom stuff. And I'm fairly certain Yakuza is also published by Capcom. Are they published by the same publisher? I don't remember. I don't know. If I'm incorrect, please correct me in the comments, and I will probably put, like, a correction here during that whole big pause area, but unsure. But 139 for, like, that stuff is like, yikes. So, yeah. But again, it's not good when any game does this, and I just think that Dragon's Dogma is the one that's currently on the pyre because, well, it has a bunch of other issues on top of the microtransactions, therefore making the microtransactions kind of the worst thing. Next up, we've got maybe be like Capcom, WTF, what are these microtransactions in Dragon's Dogma 2? Like, they haven't done the same shit for every other game. So I think I was right. For Resident Evil 4, specifically, at least, because I know that Resident Evil 4 was also made by Capcom, but that's also very egregious. And again, people did get angry over this. And a lot of people forget, like, yes, absolutely, people got angry over microtransactions in single-player games. But a lot of people also got angry in this when this became a thing. Like, nobody was happy with it. But they released at least most of these types of things after the game came out. These weren't originally in the actual game, okay? They weren't in the original game, i.e., obviously, but they weren't in the original, like, release of the game, as I should be more specific. These at least came out maybe, like, 2-3 months after the fact, but even still, no one was happy with it. Like, you completely forgot that there was, like, an entire section of Twitter that did not like this. An entire section of people that did not like this. So it's like, yeah, no. Also, this is all in Aussie bucks. So, interesting. Next up, we've got Dragon's Dogma 2 on Steam, was reached to 137k players with the Capcom's highest concurrent user peak record for single-player games, beating out Resident Evil 4 and Village, where they say, y'all PC players let an unoptimized drivel beat out the GOAT game, come on. And I agree. Sometimes PC gamers be stupid. I would know. I am one. No real joke there. But that kind of leads me into the next thing, which is that Helldivers 2 has become one of the best-selling games of the year so far, with nearly 60% of the sales on PC. Very interesting, and at least according to VGC. And someone retweeted this and said, so the people screaming about PC players not buying games because Forbidden West wasn't selling, which, again, we'll get into that in a little bit. But since Forbidden West wasn't selling, just look at this, and, you can kind of see, majority of people, they like to play games, and they like to actually buy the official games. And one of the more interesting things here is that there's another one here by Black Cobra with a "you love to see it," where he's like, but I thought PC gamers didn't buy games. games. It seems like PC gamers are the ones carrying PlayStation instead of PS5 fanboys. Now, again, to any normal, sane person, this does make sense in terms of, like, how many people are actually buying and playing games, and a lot of people here also talked about how the game was cracked within about 30 seconds of going out live on Steam. However, that didn't stop about 10k players with 92% on Steam for a 2-year-old game that's a sequel to a kind of meh type game that to me didn't grab me, but with a still very positive player review of 92% out of nearly 1,000 reviews. And to be fair, again, that is still a pretty decent amount of purchases, but again, the reason why this is not selling as well, or at least it doesn't appear to be selling as well, is because it was released very close to Dragon's Dogma 2, which was a super hyped new IP, or not new IP, well, let me be clear, it was a super hyped new game, I should say, not a new IP, a new game that people were expecting to be good, and it wasn't. So, My biggest thing is wondering, like, in 2 weeks, if people flipped the script after getting the refunds for Dragon's Dogma because they didn't like it, and then spending that money on Horizon Forbidden West, the complete edition, might be actually pretty cool. I also want to point out that, again, like most, if not all of the Sony games that have currently come to the PC, it is also Steam Deck compatible. Like, full stop. Yes, I do shit on Sony fanboys, and yes, I do sometimes critique and yell at Sony for their anti-consumer practices, but this huge fucking win. I don't care. It is beautiful to see all of Sony games come to even just the Steam Deck and stuff like that, because that is fucking phenomenal. Like, the fact that they're going out of their way to do that is great. And yes, these are all confirmed for that, because of probably they're very similar in processes and they use the same processing power or whatever, but who the fuck cares? Overall, like, that's still really cool. Now, of course, continuing on with the Dragon's Dogma type train, to get back onto that track, someone says that they were so angry that they haven't had to make a single microtransaction, and saying that it's crazy in, like, an hour of playing the game. Again, I don't think anyone's complaining about the fact that microtransactions exist in games. It's just more of the context surrounding the microtransactions that's the problem here. See, again, the biggest problem with the microtransactions is the fact that you buy them, and it's like to skip forward and to get cheat codes that you buy for a game that's like a single-player experience. To skip playing that $70 single-player experience. Oh, but you can earn it in-game. You can earn it in-game and do this. Again, that's not the point. That's not the problem. We know that some people will buy them. We know that some people will essentially want to get them, and therefore will spend like 2 to 3 times the amount of the same money on a game that more or less should be a complete experience, at least to most people's eyes. Oh, but the companies still need to make money. Shut the fuck up. Anyway. Next up, we've got wait a second, I fast travel without spending any of my own real money through microtransactions? Did I just glitch the game? That clearly forces you to spend real-life money to fast travel? It's just not that deep. And I guess some people taking it that far out of context and that far to be, like, that angry about something that's, quite honestly, like, very small is understandable, to say the least, if you come from a place where you don't see the egregious microtransactions as a problem. I have told this to many people who have basically said, hey, I think that this is okay, and that's the reason why the corporations have become as big as you want to. I think the most egregious example happened back in 2012 with the release of the statement where the Battlefield CEO, or like the EA CEO at the time, who I think went on to do Unity stuff, and then run Unity into the ground almost. Essentially, he then wanted to make it so you had to pay $1 per reload. That's right, every time you reload in a first-person shooter, i.e. Battlefield, which is what he was talking about at the time, he wanted to make it so you had to charge for that. What the fuck? Next up, we have Jim J. Boy is being retweeted by another person who says that luckily I won't buy them. I'll get them via mods if I need to. And he was specifically talking about a Nexus mod where you actually get to take the microtransactions and stuff out of the game and you don't have to pay for them. And it's like a mod that opens up the game in a very different light. Again, because the code is technically already there, it just exists to where someone then says PC gamers desperately want to cheat in a single player game. This is about Dragon's Dogma 2, by the way. They want to desperately cheat in a single player game. I don't even need to justify that with a joke. We're moving on. Next up here, we have some Rise of the Ronin salt, specifically from Anna Anderson, who I've talked about a couple times in the past, and they're becoming a pretty decent place for content, where they were talking about hashtag Xbox, hashtag Xbox Game Pass, and PlayStation, where they do a pasty article of Rise of the Ronin is the best open world game of 2023, and you'll notice that it's actually March 21st, 2024, so it's like a review of Rise of the Ronin. And if I'm being clear here, to some people that might be correct, but overall, like, I don't know, I don't really see it. I don't have any opinions on this. I just find it really funny how he's trying to use, like, this one article that still gives it a 7.0 rating, which is fair. Again, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But at the same time, like, dude, go play some video games and stop console warring like a bitch. There's also people out there that were talking about how Rise of the Ronin has now gotten a 70 Metacritic score and was supposedly supposed to be the greatest exclusive to come out from PlayStation this year, obviously. And a 76, when these guys count 90s as being the best score ever, is great. And to some people, they continuously push out weird boundaries, saying, bro, you are the last one that does Metacritic thing. Always inconsistent. 70 is great for Xbox. 70 is bad for PlayStation. Shaking my something head. Every day you contradict yourself. Every damn day. This coming from the man whose grammar sometimes is so inconsistent it makes my dyslexic brain be able to read them. I mean, yeah. Also, again, this is obviously King Thrash, and yeah, absolutely. The 70s for the gamers who tout that 90s are the best score here. I don't see anyone talking about how good the Metacritic score is, and yet whenever King Thrash does the exact same thing, which he does constantly, saying that, 70s for fucking for the game of Xbox is the good one. They are going to get 60s and stuff, and it's all like yellows for Xbox because they make mid games. I'm such a good S-class gamer, does dance on person's corpse or whatever because they killed them, I guess, or whatever. Just like, bro. Now we have a Kareem Jovian, forget specifically, saying that Rise of the Ronin looking for like a PS3 game from trailers, video game, and videos to being a PS2 game when the reviewer started it, and it's $70. Oh man. Yeah. Again, in context, that is just so sad. Now, I think we're going to end this quick video off on a more based note here, and that is Elden Ring is so powerful that Atlus had to move Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance release date to a week later than originally planned, and Square Enix is scheduling the Final Fantasy VII Downtail a week after the Elden Ring. Oh, whoops, my mistake. I reversed that. It meant to be a week earlier for Shin Megami Tensei's Vengeance to a week after for the Elden Ring DLC. So they are actually giving Elden Ring a bit more space. And to give up to that second one for the Downtrail DLC, from the Gaming Illuminati, we have Yoshi P was the director of Final Fantasy XIV, announces the new expansion is delayed so gamers can enjoy the Elden Ring ZLD. He says, you got 1 week, and Like, there's this really fun clip of him at the thing, and I'm like, wow. I thought he was going to show some shade at the Elden Ring DLC, but he's like, no, I'm going to be based. And, yeah, absolutely, the 100% based department has been called, and that man will get a plaque in that. At least in my personal opinion. And finally, we have someone who just has a very good meme here, saying, game developers, we have no fear, we can make anything. Elden Ring DLC. Game developers, we have one fear. I sometimes, comes a point when you've looked at so much salt that you gotta take a moment and breathe in some of that good internet positivity. Because it does exist. It's hard to find, but when you do, it somehow is better than sorting salt directly. It's great. It's fantastic. Anywho, I think that'll about do it for this video. I love everything that has to do with this. And to be fair, that ending it off on a good note is fantastic. In any case, I think that'll about... In any case, like I said at the top of the video... Fuck. In any case... I always end it off with that case. Shit. I think that to get the shilling out of the way, if you've made it this far into the video, please hit that like and subscribe button. That would be helping out very much through the algorithm. Looking to hit 1K by the end of the year. I know we can do it. We're at 840, pushing for that 900. Thank you so much for everything that you do. If you want any more of my content or any more of my videos and stuff, or just want to listen to some of the music that I produce, which I do produce some, links down to everything in the description below. Also, I stream on the weekends. Make sure you go follow me over on the Twitch, twitch.tv/GamePing21, and thank you all so much for watching. My name is GamePing21. I sometimes both love and hate the internets, and a peace. Off.